What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Nerdy Mark channel. I'm Sid the Nerdy Mark, and today I have your review for Raw and SmackDown Live. Now, a couple of things I want to talk about before we begin. First things first, my Avengers Infinity War review is up and live on my channel now. Go check it out if you haven't. Spoiler review coming soon. Number two, I will not be putting out a Backlash predictions video on this channel because I am doing my predictions with two good friends of mine, JP Whitman and John Kearns. They have their own podcast called the Omega Cast, part of Goonland Productions. There's two podcasts. It's the Phenomenal Podcast and the Omega Cast. JP and John are part of the Omega Cast, and I will be featured on their show this Saturday. Big shout out to both of those guys. Links to their channel is in the description below. Check them out, the Omega Cast and the Phenomenal Podcast. Go and support good people. So, Raw does come to us from Montreal, Quebec, Canada, as does SmackDown Live, so just getting that out of the way. But Roman Reigns opens up Raw to a thunderous amount of boos. Oh my god, these boos are deafening. I haven't heard boos like this for Roman Reigns in a very long time, but then again, it is Canada, it is Wacky World. They cheer who they usually boo and boo who they usually cheer. But wait a minute, I thought that was New Orleans. Roman Reigns comes out, he addresses the controversial finish that happened at the Greatest Royal Rumble where his feet touched the floor first, but the win went over to Brock Lesnar. Yes, I did watch the Greatest Royal Rumble. I never said I wasn't going to watch it, I just said I wasn't going to review it. He's talking about what happened there, the controversial finish. Who gets up on the Titantron but Samoa Joe of SmackDown Live now? And Samoa Joe continues to put over Brock Lesnar. Seriously, why are we having Samoa Joe put over Brock Lesnar? I don't get it, okay? It makes no sense to me whatsoever. I mean, I understand the context, but still, why is Samoa Joe putting over Brock Lesnar? Stop putting over Brock Lesnar. He's over enough as it is, and Samoa Joe, you're too damn good to be putting over Brock Lesnar. Samoa Joe continues to put over Brock Lesnar, and he also mentions that he's going to beat Roman Reigns at Backlash. And then who interrupts but my favorite person, Jinder Mahal, along with his crony Sunil Singh. Jinder comes out and he says, you couldn't beat Brock Lesnar. Seriously, why are we putting over Brock Lesnar? Jinder Mahal says, you got beaten by Brock Lesnar 3 times. Now I'm going to face you tonight. And who else interrupts but Sami Zayn, to an immense amount of cheers because, you know, he's the hometown hero, even though he's a heel. But again, Wacky World. Sami Zayn comes out. He says he's going to fight Roman Reigns. Kevin Owens comes out to a heroic pop, to a huge pop from the crowd, and he says he wants to fight Roman Reigns. Everybody wants a piece of Roman Reigns. Why exactly? Roman Reigns does the most logical thing to do. He punches Sami Zayn in the face, and all the heels gang up on Roman. This prompts Bobby Lashley out of nowhere to come out and help Roman Reigns, as well as Braun Strowman, who completely forgot that Roman Reigns tried to kill him. This sets up a match later on for that night. We have Roman Reigns teaming up with Braun Strowman, who he tried to murder, and Bobby Lashley to take on the team of Jinder Mahal, Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn. It was an okay segment, not too bad of a segment, setting up a match later on. However, I still can't get behind Roman Reigns. I hope after Backlash, they do something a little bit more substantial with Roman. I hope they do something a little bit better, because the way they're booking him right now, he just comes off as super whiny. We get our first match of the night, a rematch between Bobby Roode and Elias. And Elias performs for the crowd, puts down Canada, and puts down Bobby Roode. And he's interrupted by the glorious theme of Bobby Roode, and they have a match, and the match does end when Bobby Roode apparently hits himself in the throat on the turnbuckle. Elias kind of rubs it in when he gets on the mic, and he says that the match is over and he wins, really getting that heel heat from the Montreal crowd. If this is not leading to a Bobby Roode heel turn sometime in the near future, I don't know what they're planning to do with him. So please, WWE, do something with this man, because he is worth it. Please turn him heel. I'm going to keep saying turn him heel until they actually pull the trigger on a Bobby Roode heel turn. Again, a decent match, but, you know, again, with a kind of a screwy finish. So I'm smelling a rematch for next week. We then have local enhancement talent Jean Paul and Francois, aka Local Jobbers, taking on the Authors of Pain. Squash match, that's pretty much all I have to say. Authors of Pain then get on the mic and cut a promo, a very shouty promo, which was completely incomprehensible for me. So I don't know. I mean, I love the Authors of Pain. I love them to death, but keep them off the mic. Honestly, get Paul Heyman to manage these guys. If they don't want Paul Ellering, get Paul Heyman, because they need a manager really bad. Their promo was kind of weak, but the match was a squash, which is exactly what they need to be doing at this point, so that we can build them up for an eventual title shot for the Raw Tag Team titles. And speaking of Tag Team Championships, we do get a promo from Woken, Matt Hardy, and Bray Wyatt, the Deleters of Worlds, and they have a really wacky promo documenting their existence from the beginning of time. That's all I'm going to say about it. This was an amazing promo. This was absolutely wacky, and you guys should go and just watch it. It was that good. I really enjoyed this one. So go check that out. We also have a promo from Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre, who are shirtless in a hotel room. Nothing weird about that at all, especially these days. They basically are putting the whole tag team division on notice, talking about Drew McIntyre cutting a really good promo about how the entire tag team division has gone soft. They don't have to steal the show, they're just going to take it, which is basically the same thing. I'm excited for this team. I think Dolph Ziggler has a bit of a resurgence now that he's been paired with Drew McIntyre. So I'm really excited. Hopefully big things are on the horizon for this new tag team. We then have a match between Sasha Banks and Ruby Riott of the Riott Squad. A really quick note, right before Sasha makes her entrance, we have Renee Young waiting, and she literally is interviewing Sasha Banks right before she's about to go out. Like, how does that make any sense? She has a match. Why are you interviewing her like 5 seconds before she's supposed to make her big entrance? How does that make any sense? And how does Sasha Banks find the time to talk to Renee Young when she has to go out and have a match? So this match goes on for a bit, and then of course Bayley is not outside, as Sasha addresses in the interview, which was absolutely unnecessary, like I said. But Sasha is by herself. Bayley is watching on the teleprompter or the big TV screen, and the match does end when Sasha Banks is on the top turnbuckle. Ruby Riott hits the Riot Kick onto Sasha Banks and takes the win for the Riott Squad. Not a bad match. Nothing, again, too spectacular. I almost forgot this match because it was that forgettable. Nothing great happened. Riott Squad win. They assert their dominance over the Raw Women's division. So that's all there is to it. That's all she wrote. We then had Titus O'Neil address his big moment in the Greatest Royal Rumble. If you don't know what that is, go check it out and come back. But it was Ruby Riott. It was Renee Young interviewing Titus O'Neil. Titus says he wants to capitalize on the situation, and he's making Titus World Slide t-shirts that everyone should go get. Baron Corbin interrupts the interview and says that it's nothing to be proud of, and that he is a laughingstock and he should be ashamed. And this will play in later on in the night. We then have our 6-man tag match, which was built up earlier on in the night. I can talk today. We have Braun Strowman, Roman Reigns, who tried to kill him earlier last year. I'm going to keep referring to that. And Bobby Lashley taking on Jinder Mahal, Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn. And long story short, this is, for all intents and purposes, a squash match, because when Braun got tagged in, everybody died. Okay? Everybody died. There was a huge funeral, and Montreal hated it. Canada, you suck. How dare you boo Braun Strowman? We now have Baron Corbin versus No Way Jose. We actually get the match now. The match is going on. It's not a great match. It's alright. Looks like Baron's got the upper hand, but then Titus Worldwide make an interruption. They do the whole parody, Titus O'Neil, before he runs down the ramp, Apollo Crews takes a towel and wipes down the ramp, and then he gets on the apron and he slips and falls on the floor. I know they're trying to capitalize on the whole, Titus World Slide, but this was not the way to do it. But Baron Corbin, is amused by this. This causes a distraction. No Way Jose rolls him up. 1, 2, 3. No Way Jose wins and goes and celebrates with Titus Worldwide. Honestly, if Jose joins Titus Worldwide, I would be totally fine with that. That would be really awesome. We then get another moment of bliss, one of her many PSAs against bullying, more specifically targeted at Nia Jax. This time, Nia Jax made fun of Alexa Bliss because she wasn't tall enough to ride on the teacups while, Nia Jax was munching on turkey legs, creating a really, obscene scenario in our head and really antagonizing Nia Jax, calling her the real bully and whatnot. This is really good stuff, man. I encourage you guys to go watch this as well. This is a great promo. I loved it very much. She's feigning sincerity, really making her a very good heel. So I enjoyed this promo. More of these, please. Well, actually, this is going to be the last one because this is the go-home show of Backlash. So unfortunately, we're not going to get these anymore. But this was a good promo. Go check it out if you haven't already. And the aforementioned promo leads us to our match between Natalya and Mickie James. On Mickie James' corner, we have Alexa Bliss. On Natalya's corner, we have her best friend, Ronda Rousey. So the match itself between Mickie and Natalya is great. Both are very amazingly technical women in the ring. But the main attraction was Alexa Bliss trying to get in the way of the match, trying to insert herself in the match, and basically playing tag with Ronda Rousey around the ring. This causes a distraction for Mickie James, and Natalya gets the pin, and then Nia Jax comes out, Alexa Bliss runs off again, and this is the main theme for Alexa Bliss. She runs away from Nia Jax because obviously she's a bully, and this big bully comes in, has a little bit of a stare down with Ronda Rousey, but then raises her and Natalya's hands. So the babyface is looking strong. We then earlier on had a segment with Seth Rollins. He came out to celebrate his victory at the Greatest Royal Rumble that, hit the Fatal 4-Way Ladder match, which was actually a good match. I urge you to go check it out. He basically is saying that he is, defended it 4 times, and he's cutting a promo on The Miz. He's interrupted by Finn Balor, who kind of says that, you've beaten me twice, I've beaten you twice. Why don't you put that title on the line tonight? Before Rollins can say anything, we get Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel coming out. They want to continue to join up with both of them. They want all 4 of them to be a tag team. They even have these corny looking t-shirts with pictures of Dallas and Axel, Rollins and Balor all taped up to a plain white t-shirt. And they say, how about we become the 4 horsemen? Rollins and Balor turn them down. Axel and Dallas attack both Rollins and Balor. They beat them up, and Rollins and Balor are celebrating, but Balor from behind hits Rollins with like a kind of, it looks like a sling blade, but it's not, but like gets him in the sling blade position and elbows him on the chest, while Seth Rollins is very happy about it for some reason, because apparently he likes getting elbowed on the chest. But this sets us up for a match later on in the night. We have Finn Balor versus Seth Rollins for the Intercontinental Championship. And of course, this leads to our main event match, Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor for the Intercontinental Championship. Great way to close out Raw. Another phenomenal match between these two. I don't know what more you want me to say. These two, when they're in the ring, it's magic. It's a clinic of a match. I cannot stress enough how badly you should just go and watch this match. Finn Balor showing off a few more heelish tendencies in this. So hopefully this is, fingers crossed, this is a start of a Finn Balor heel turn, because I think he really needs it. He's been kind of stuck in the shuffle for a little bit. The only thing kind of keeping him going is the IC title picture. And honestly, if he turns heel, that their next eventual match will have a lot more weight to it. So turn him heel quickly, WWE. Turn Finn Balor heel. I really would love to see a heel Balor. SmackDown Live begins with the clip of the Greatest Royal Rumble where Shane McMahon was getting on the top rope and Braun Strowman literally just picked him up and threw him out of the ring, and Shane McMahon hit a table. So obviously McMahon will not be able to make it to SmackDown Live today, and instead Paige is in charge. She addresses what happened between the two at the Greatest Royal Rumble and that their actions were absolutely reprehensible. So she books a no disqualification match at Backlash between AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura for the WWE Championship. I'm a little bit more excited about this match now. So SmackDown Live does formally begin with Miz TV, where he first talks about his match at Backlash, where he says that he's going to beat Seth Rollins and he's going to tie Chris Jericho's record as the 9-time Intercontinental Champion. But after that, he brings out his first guest for the night, and that is Jeff Hardy. He calls him out for disrespecting Randy Orton, a future Hall of Famer. And then he brings out Randy Orton, and Randy Orton says that he and Jeff are cool, despite the fact that they're okay, that whether they're cool or not, Randy Orton will be taking the title off of Jeff Hardy. This prompts Shelton Benjamin to come out and say that Randy doesn't deserve anything, and that he beat him last week, so he deserves to be in the United States title picture. This prompts a tag match between the team of Jeff Hardy and Randy Orton versus The Miz and Shelton Benjamin. And this was a great opener to the show. Really good match between the four people. Really good competitiveness between all four of them. They know how to handle themselves in the ring. So I have no problems with that. I expected nothing less from these guys. The match does end when Randy Orton hits an RKO onto Shelton Benjamin, tags in Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy hits the Swanton Bomb and takes the pin and gets the pin for the good guys. And this, of course, ends as everything usually does with Randy Orton, where Orton hits an RKO onto Jeff Hardy, sending a message out to Jeff. So apparently Daniel Bryan is again not medically cleared because of the nasty chest marks he had at the Greatest Royal Rumble, and that the doctor suspecting that he may have a chest infection. This is very alarming news. Hopefully Daniel Bryan does get better and that he can actually wrestle. This leads to our next segment. Big Cass comes out into the ring and he makes a mockery of Daniel Bryan. And Daniel Bryan's music hits, but no, it's not Daniel Bryan, it's Pierre Lafleur, a local Canadian talent who is, of course, affected with dwarfism, and he comes out acting like Daniel Bryan, and Big Cass beats him up, sending a message to the real Daniel Bryan, who, again, is not there due to not being medically cleared. Hopefully, he can be. Please, hopefully. So yeah, I am still a little bit concerned about this. I hope that Bryan does get well soon, and that he is in shape for this Sunday. Up next, AJ Styles makes his way into the ring, and Renee Young talks about what happened during their match at the Greatest Royal Rumble. AJ Styles, continues to cut a great promo on Shinsuke Nakamura, saying that he's not going to apologize for what he did. He is interrupted by Samoa Joe, who says, "You're talking about the wrong match. You should be talking about the match between me and Roman Reigns." Why would AJ Styles talk about that at all, Samoa Joe? He's not in the match. He has a match himself against Shinsuke Nakamura. So he would obviously talk about his match and not talk about your match. So he first of all does put himself over and say that he's going to put the big dog to sleep, and he's coming after the WWE Championship, no matter who the champion is, whether it's Nakamura or AJ Styles. Nakamura's music hits. Samoa Joe is still on the entrance ramp, and he looks and he turns around and waiting for Nakamura to come out so we can attack him. But Nakamura already had made his way into the ring and hits AJ with, you guessed it, a low blow out of nowhere. It's super effective once again. He hits, of course, a Kinshasa onto AJ Styles, pats him on the head like he did before WrestleMania, and that's the segment. So I'm looking forward to this no disqualification match. Low blows are absolutely perfectly legal. Chair shots are perfectly legal. So I'm actually interested to see how this is. I know still may not be up to the caliber of their New Japan match, but I think it can be much closer and it'll be a lot more brutal. So I'm really excited for this match. We then had a backstage segment where Sheamus and Cesaro have official SmackDown Live contracts. They are officially part of the SmackDown Live roster. The New Day celebrate them coming into SmackDown Live by offering them a plate of pancakes, which they blatantly refuse. Sheamus says, if you want to welcome us into SmackDown Live, why don't you give me a match between Xavier Woods and myself. So that's the match that we get. And this was a really good match. Both guys really getting their stuff in. Sheamus showing off his strength. Xavier Woods showing off his agility. Xavier Woods' agility would serve him really well this time as he catches Sheamus with a small package after he got distracted from outside the ring by the New Day and goes on to win the match. So I am not sure what they're doing with the bar now. But then again, it is a little too early to tell, but we'll see. Hopefully they do go up against the Bludgeon Brothers sometime in the future, because that is a match I would really like to see. We also had a segment backstage with Rusev Day, and Lana comes out and she says to Aiden English, "Can I talk to Rusev privately?" And she says that, "Rusev, I think you're holding back." And she implies that it's because of Aiden English, creating a little tension. I'm sensing a Rusev Day split. I hope that it's not the case, because Rusev Day was amazing, and honestly Aiden English was as big of a part of Rusev Day as it was Rusev himself. So Lana, don't you dare do what I think you're trying to do. It is now time for our main event. We have Charlotte, Becky Lynch, and Asuka teaming up to take on the Iconics and the SmackDown Women's Champion, Carmella. And might I say, Carmella, I know this is probably the sentiment for a lot of people across the WWE universe, but I am sorry, I cannot stand Carmella. Her screams are so just really high pitched. Like every time I hear her scream, pus is forming in my ears and they're exploding and it's just oozing down my face. It's horrible. Carmella, quit screaming. Damn it. This is a pretty decent match. Everybody doing, their babyface stuff and their heelish stuff. Corey Graves continues to have a big hard-on for all three of the heels. But the match does win when Asuka does get Peyton Royce on the in the Asuka lock, and she taps almost instantaneously, and that's how the match ends. And the last visual is of Charlotte going up to Carmella and doing this, saying, I'm going to take your belt and whatnot. So we'll see what happens this Sunday night. Overall, these were supposed to be go-home shows for Backlash. However, they really didn't feel like it. I really don't know what to feel. I think both shows, again, were holding back. Maybe it was because of the Greatest Royal Rumble. I'm not sure. But whatever the case may be, I am very excited for Backlash to be over and done with, just so we can have some more interesting storylines going forward. That's not to say that there weren't some good things about both shows. I really enjoyed the Authors of Pain squashing some local jobbers. That's always good to see. The match, the big six-man tag match was really good. I really enjoyed it. Anytime Braun Strowman can kill people, that's, as I mentioned, always a great thing. The Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt segment was great. The shirtless promo that Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler were doing in a hotel room, again, not weird at all, was fantastic. On SmackDown, I did like the storyline being told with Rusev Day. Xavier Woods versus Sheamus was a really good match. Everything going on with Shinsuke Nakamura and AJ Styles, as usual, was great. Miz TV, fantastic. The match between the four people, Hardy and Orton versus Benjamin and Miz, was great. The 6-woman tag team match, which was essentially kind of like copy and pasting the 6-man tag match on Raw. Oh yeah, and also on Raw, Rollins versus Balor. What else do you want me to say? With Balor showing off some heel tendencies. So I'm excited to see where they go with that. So that's kind of some of my highlights for both Raw and SmackDown this week. But I really am wanting to get Backlash over with because I want to see some more exciting storylines going forward. So those are my thoughts on Raw and SmackDown this week. Let me know what you guys thought about both shows in the comment section below. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on social media and tell your friends about the Nerdy Mark. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is Sid signing off. You guys take care. Bye-bye.